Hello everyone, this is Naidu from Techno Legal Forum. Today we are going to discuss about protocols. Okay, before we jump into the protocol understanding, let me give you a context. A protocol is what? Set of rules negotiated between the two systems or an understanding between two systems. Why do they do it? Before actual data transfer happens back and forth, this is needed. Again, the question is why we need this? If we don't have this authentication or understanding, any device can connect any device, any other device, and data transfer happens, and any unwanted device can also start sending the traffic. So protocols are important. Set of rules. Even in a general analogy, if you want to talk to someone of interest, let's say we have a landline, I pick up the handset, I'll dial the number of the intended person. The intended person gets a ring, he picks up the receiver, and we will say hello, and I'll ask that I'm speaking to you, whether am I speaking to such a person. He will acknowledge it. Then only we'll talk about the business or any important information that we need to share. Similarly, even computers have to establish this connection, then authentication, to ensure they are communicating to the right intended parties. So that is the essence of a protocol. Okay. First is established connection. After established connection, what happens? Okay. Authentication. This is a establishing connection. Next is the authentication. Okay, this is also authentication. This is a different authentication. This is over the development of over a period of time. These are the protocols which have developed. Latest ones are the one which is at the bottom here: Kerberos, Radius, SAML, OpenID. We are going to discuss in depth about this. Now, while discussing these protocols, you come across encryption and hashing. Okay, encryption, hashing, compression, VPN, all these things are very important. When we are discussing these protocols, these things will come in the part of the discussion, because without they are the underlining algorithms or the technologies on which these are happen to be secure, the latest, and the authentication protocol. So what I have planned is, first we'll understand the starting, that is point to point protocol. Then we'll move on to hashing and encryption. Okay, so we are going to talk about the protocols, authentication protocols later. Now we will talk about the point to point protocol. Okay, so let me give a pictorial representation. Okay, we'll just read this one, why authentication matters. Let me take out all these things. Once the PP link is established, both sides must verify the identity. Means they have to authenticate whom they are talking. So what is the essential need? If they don't authenticate, anyone can connect and intercept or inject traffic in the network. So that is not the purpose, right? So this is a thing. So this is a pictorial representation. Here we have a client which is trying to reach out to server, Once the PPP link is established here, it uses password authentication or CHAP or MS CHAP authentication protocol, supplies password username, and the server will check that details here. If it is found, it provides the access, then actual data transfer happens. So that is this thing. So let me give you some background about PPP. See, earlier I am talking about in 1990s all the way to late or early 2000 year. Many of you are not born, I believe, in the audience. We used to access internet through telephone wires, right? I don't know how do you write it. Yeah. So through telephone wires, our modem used to have a connection of telephone wire, right? And another end will go to ISP. We have a software dial-up. We say dial-up connection because since we are dialing a number, basically ISP number. So we used to log in through those time laptops were rare, desktops, and we used to open that app, dial the number. It used to connect to ISP. ISP used to ask the credentials. Once we provide that, it allows for internet access. Internet. So internet was accessed through dial-up connection, and the same PPP is what this connection establishment happens. Okay, those time the speeds, internet speeds are in the range of kilobits per second. Something like, I remember 46 kbps, 56 maximum. I feel expensive on Mbps. So in terms of KB and MB, I will give you 1024 bits is 1 kbps, kilobits per second, 1024 or 1k bits per second. 1 MB means 1000 KB. Okay, kilobits per second. So why we are telling bits per second? Because everything that computer communicates through is zeros and ones. This zeros and is nothing. It can be a text where it can be application, anything, because here you might see as application, software, everything, but when it gets converted into when it comes out and travels through the channel, it's always zeros and ones. So the amount of data that travels between two systems is measured in terms of bandwidth. That is, as I mentioned, it is 46 kilobits and 56 kilobits, maximum 1 Mbps. I am talking about during this time. So experience wise, to get to Google page after dialing and all, maybe 2-3 seconds it used to say. Gmail and Yahoo email, those time Yahoo and Hotmail page sometimes used to take seconds to open. So most often the connection gets terminated, again you dial up. So these were the challenges those days. because that is using telephone wires. They are twisted pair. They are not able to support high speed. Now these are replaced by through the DSL, digital subscriber lines, or Ethernet. Okay, these will support maximum bandwidth. Okay, so we have nowadays, for example, I am using 30 Mbps Geo broadband, so it may go 100 to 1000 Mbps. So these are the improvements happened because of Ethernet. But the underlying technology, that is establishing a connection, is still PPP. Because when PPP is serving that purpose, why to reinvent a wheel? That is what the thought process. Why to reinvent the wheel? Okay. Speeds anyway supported by Ethernet cable, but establishing this connection is through point-to-point protocol. So we call this as point-to-point protocol over Ethernet. So this is the new name of protocol. Earlier DSL we used to PPP. For Ethernet and all we use point-to-point protocol over Ethernet. This is the technology. Okay. So this is the background about PPP, how it was being used those days. I mean my days when I started using internet. Now technology has improved a lot. I think even you have through satellite also you can access internet, and it's exponential growth of internet and the technologies. Okay, before we close on point-to-point protocol, so as I said, it is a establishing a channel. Very easy to understand PPP versus authentication protocols is PPP is like a highway, national highway. Authentication protocols are poll booths. Okay. Highway will exist regardless of the poll booths, but poll booths will not have no meaning if there is no highway. So that is the understanding issue there. Poll booth is meant to validate, authenticate the user you are using that. So that whereas the channel is only establishing connection between one city to another. So that's the very easy understanding we can make between these two protocols. Okay. Then compression and encryption we will cover, and then we will close at this. After this we will take up the protocol, various authentication protocols in the next class. Okay. Okay, let me quickly explain about authentication protocol. Oh, something happened. I'm not getting the whiteboard. Okay, we'll start with the encryption, then we will move on to the compression. It's a very small explanation about compression, but it doesn't matter if we don't cover before encryption. Okay, what is encryption? Let's take sender A, Alice, from his laptop is sending a message, hello Bob, Bob is here. This is all internet, where hundreds, thousands, lakhs of systems are there. Okay. Alice sending hello Bob. Before sending, you will encrypt it. Means it's a mathematical algorithm which scrambles the plain text, the readable, meaningful word into unmeaningful word, that is nothing but ciphertext. See here, this one is nothing but this. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Eavesdropper, even if he sees, captures, because the internet is untrusted network, anybody can access, right? Using various tools, we can actually capture the contents over the internet. Even if he captures this portion, it doesn't make any sense, right? This kind of scrambled some characters, you'll not able. Instead of hello Bob, if there is some secret account number, I'm giving an example, that gets converted into like this. Even if he captures, he will not able to make it. What is that actual meaning of it? Because with the help of mathematical algorithm and with the help of secret key, this secret key is very, very critical. This secret key is known to sender and the receiver only. Nobody else in the world except these two people know that. I'll tell you why that key is more critical. This ciphertext travels over the network, finally reaches the Bob's computer. Bob's uses a similar corresponding algorithm and the same secret key which they shared much before. They shared the key secretly, not through internet. They use various means to share. Let's assume that he uses this secret key to uncipher or decrypt the message. When he decrypts the message, he gets hello Bob. This is what the information. So this whole process depends upon the secret key and algorithm. So thousands of messages or data which is flowing the internet, if that needs to be hidden or being attacked by the eavesdroppers or hackers, best approach from the security point of view is to encrypt it. Okay, this is all about the encryption. This encryption is supported in the channel, that PPP channel. I told you it's like a highway. Password authentication protocol you use for sending password and username, and two devices will acknowledge that. Encryption is whatever you are sending, make it unreadable, make it a ciphertext. So this also goes through that PPP channel. Okay, so this is a link. Sorry. It supports, the channel supports authentication, that's CHAP and other authentication. Compression is okay, I'll explain right away. We talked about the bandwidth, right? Bandwidth always have a, if I am buying 30 Mbps, this is the bandwidth I have, means amount of data transfer I can do is cannot do more than 30 Mbps, right? So it's always fixed. If you are sending lot of files. Okay, suppose if you are sending, or compression is something like this. Suppose if you are 100 KB file, some PDF file, kilobytes, like hundreds of them you keep sending, this bandwidth gets choked. Instead of that, if you apply compression before before in the system itself, you do the compression, converted into maximum compression, let's say 50 kbps. So by doing so, you should be able to send twice the amount than what you were sending earlier, because the bandwidth is reduced by 50%. So that is nothing but compression. Compression is also a feature which is supported by the PPP link, and we learnt about encryption. So next class we will talk about VPNs. Okay, regarding the digital subscriber line, that is nothing but Ethernet. Okay, high speed network. As I mentioned earlier, we used to have 46 kilobytes. When the speeds increased, because we no longer using the Ethernet telephone cables, we are using a special type of cables, Ethernet cables, or fiber optic cables, or wireless. These cables support higher bandwidths. Okay, but the underlying technology still remains. When it established, want to establish a connection, because for establishing connection you don't require a new protocol to be developed. Okay, so that's the topic about point to point protocol. Then we covered about compression, encryption, and what were the speeds before, and several of the examples. Okay, so we'll pause here, and we'll catch up in the next class. Have a nice day. See you then. Bye.